Okay, let's just say it. AI is changing everything, especially when it comes to data projects. So today we're going to break down exactly how that's happening and, what it really means for you as an analyst. Let's dive right in.
I mean, it's kind of the big paradox of our time, right? We are absolutely swimming in data. Companies, organizations, they're collecting more information than they know what to do with. But all that volume, it's created this huge, huge challenge. All the data's there, for sure, but the actual insights, they're buried deep.
And that's the real question, isn't it? That's the whole ballgame. How do we get from just having all this raw data to making smart, actionable decisions? Well, the answer isn't to just collect more data. It's about using a whole new generation of smarter tools to make sense of what we already have. So let's start by thinking about AI, not as this one big scary thing, but more like a brand new toolkit. A whole suite of powerful, specialized tools that are designed to help us cut through all the noise and find that valuable signal.
Okay, first up in our toolkit is the one you've definitely heard about, generative AI. Now, for you as a data analyst, don't think of this as just a fancy calculator. Think of it more like a creative partner. This thing is a total game changer for, say, turning a boring spreadsheet of findings into a story that people actually understand, or summarizing super complex results in just a few seconds.
What's really wild when you look at this timeline is just how fast all of this happened. I mean, think about it. In 2014, GANs popped up and suddenly AI could create realistic images. Just 3 years later, in 2017, the transformer architecture comes along. And that was the breakthrough. That was the thing that made these huge large language models possible. The ones that power the tools we're all using today.
So, what's actually driving these language models? It's something called natural language processing, or NLP. You can think of it as the engine that lets a computer actually understand human language, not just the words, but the context and the feeling behind them. It's the reason an AI knows that when someone says, "not bad at all," that's actually a good thing, even with the word bad in there. This is the magic behind every chatbot you talk to.
And this quote is just a fantastic way to picture how these models work. See, they don't know things the way we do. It's more like they've read a giant encyclopedia, but instead of memorizing it, they've broken down every single piece and just learned the patterns of how all those pieces fit together. So when you ask it a question, it's not giving you a fact it knows. It's just expertly putting the pieces back together to create what it predicts is the most likely, most probable answer. Okay, so if generative AI is great at helping us describe our data and tell stories with it, the next tool in our kit is all about predicting what's going to happen next. And this is the real powerhouse of AI, machine learning. So what is machine learning at its core? It's really about teaching a computer to learn from data on its own without us having to write code for every single possible scenario. And you see it everywhere. It's how your bank flags a weird transaction on your credit card, or how companies try to forecast market trends. The system basically just learns the patterns of what's normal so it can immediately spot something that looks, well, not normal. Now, machine learning basically breaks down into two main types. First, you've got supervised learning. Here, you're the teacher. You feed the model data that's already labeled, like this is a fraudulent transaction, this one is not, over and over until it learns to tell the difference on its own. Then you have unsupervised learning. Here, you're more like a detective. You just hand the model a giant pile of messy, unlabeled data and say, find something interesting. And it goes off and finds hidden patterns all on its own, like maybe discovering totally new customer segments you never even knew were there. Yeah, I really like this quote because it just nails it. Supervised learning means structure. It means you are in charge, giving the model clear instructions and guiding it to the right answers with good, clean examples. And of course, it's not just those two. There are other methods. You've got semi-supervised learning, which is kind of the best of both worlds. A practical middle ground when you have a little bit of labeled data, but a whole lot of unlabeled data. And then there's reinforcement learning, which is a whole different beast. That's where an AI learns by trial and error, getting digital rewards for good decisions and penalties for bad ones. It's basically how you'd teach an AI to master a game. All right, tool number 3 in our kit is what I like to call the ultimate automated assistant. This one is all about pure efficiency. We're talking about robotic process automation, or RPA. And trust me, this is your secret weapon for getting rid of all that boring, repetitive work that just drains your day. RPA is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You build a little software bot that is programmed to follow a very specific set of rules. The key here is that it's not about learning or predicting anything. It's just about executing a simple, predefined task perfectly every single time, like copying and pasting data from a spreadsheet into another system. So here's the absolute key difference you need to remember. RPA is deterministic. That means it just follows the script you give it, no questions asked, every single time. Machine learning, on the other hand, is adaptive. It learns from new data and can actually change what it does. So one automates a task, the other actually enables learning. And here's a perfect real-world example. Think about that weekly sales report you have to do. An RPA bot can be set up to do the whole thing for you. Step 1. It pulls the new data from the system. Step 2. It automatically refreshes the report. 3. It attaches that report to a pre-written email. And 4. It sends it out to everyone on the list. All of it done at the exact same time every week, and you didn't have to lift a finger. Okay, so we've got all these amazing, powerful tools in our new toolkit. Generative AI, machine learning, RPA. But this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole equation, and that's you. Look, these tools are powerful, no question, but they are not perfect. They make mistakes, and that makes your single most important job, validation. You simply cannot just trust the output. You have to question everything, the data it used, the process it followed, and every single conclusion it comes up with. And here's a huge reason why that's so critical. These AI models learn from the data we feed them. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. So if your training data is biased, or if it doesn't really reflect the real world, let's say it heavily overrepresents one group of customers, then the AI is going to learn that bias. Its results aren't going to reflect reality, they're going to reflect the flaws that were in your data to begin with. And then there's this other weird thing. AI is known to hallucinate. And yeah, that's the actual term for it. This is when a model just makes stuff up. It produces information that is totally wrong or just complete nonsense, but it states it with 100% confidence, like it's a fact. It's basically just filling in the gaps with what it thinks sounds right, and that can be seriously misleading if you're not paying attention. So look, using these tools responsibly is more than just following a checklist. It's really about a whole new mindset. You have to be paranoid about privacy, like never ever load proprietary company data into a public tool that isn't secure. You have to be a skeptic. Always double check the AI's output for accuracy and bias. And maybe most important of all, you have to be the strategist. The AI gives you a starting point, but it's your job to add that critical human context and tell everyone what it actually means. And that, right there, that is the key takeaway from all of this. AI is not here to replace the data analyst. It's here to make the analyst better. It takes care of the what, all the tedious data crunching, the pattern finding, the report building, and that frees you up to focus on the much more valuable questions. Why is this happening, and so what should we do about it? So I'll just leave you with this one thought. These tools are only going to get smarter and more powerful. So the real question for you isn't just how do I use these tools, it's how will I use them to push my own thinking to ask bigger, smarter, and way more important questions of my data.